comic book film. This just isn't that good. I think it tried to be a mixture of The Matrix, obviously because Keanu Reeves, trying to cash in on his fame because it was similar sort of years, 5-year period, and The Crow, and it just missed it. So
I think that if I didn't know that this was based on a comic book, I never would have guessed it.
I mean, if this has no association whatsoever to comic books, it's a good film. Mm-hmm. But then there's just that little thing at the back of my mind, which is, this isn't Hellblazer. This isn't Hellblazer.
Yeah, sure.
Have you got a top 5 favourite comic book films?
I certainly do.
Ooh, look at you being all prepared.
Here's one I prepared earlier. But it's in no particular order, because I am not that decisive.
Okay, fair enough.
So, in no particular order.
Okay. Howard the Duck.
Number 1.
Blade Trinity.
Shush.
Okay.
It's my list. Batman Returns.
Okay.
Cause Catwoman.
Sure.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, the first one?
Yeah.
Why?
Cause music.
Because music.
Just because it's very funny, and it completely blew me away when I first saw it.
Well, originally, Guardians of the Galaxy isn't a very popular Marvel...
No, I'd never heard of it. I didn't know anything about it, and I think the movie was just brilliant, and it was so, fresh and energetic and exciting and funny and great characters.
Chris Pratt definitely made that film.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, it was what's his name?
He was in it.
James Gunn.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah, I just thought it was, fantastic.
It was fun. It was
really
very
good fun. And, if you want to watch a really fun movie, that's a great one to watch. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Ooh, well done you. Mm-hmm. That is good. Well done.
It was a tough one. Because I wanted a Spider-Man in there.
Yeah.
I thought, which one do I prefer? Because I have nostalgia about Tobey Maguire.
Okay.
2000, I think, wasn't it?
2002 and 2005?
Yeah, because...
No, 2004. I don't know.
Because that was my,
Mid-2000s.
Sure, all right. Make your mind up. Anyway, but because, that was... I was obviously much younger, and that was like, wow.
Yeah, it was a 30-year-old playing a 15-year-old. Huzzah! Sorry. Go on.
I know, but anyway, I definitely think that Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is my favourite.
Okay.
Iron Man.
Okay.
The first one.
Yeah.
And actually Hellboy.
Hellboy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's the Ron Perlman one, or the geezer from Stranger Things one?
Definitely Ron Perlman.
Ron Perlman. Ron Perlman for president. That's what I say.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's my, in no particular order, top 5. How about you?
Okay. This is off the top of my head.
Okay.
We're going to go X-Men 2.
Oh.
Yes. Just because that was a really good adaptation of X-Men comics, and it is just a good X-Men film. Mm-hmm. There haven't been many.
No, that's true.
With the exception of Logan, that was pretty good. So we have X-Men 2. Then we have Spider-Man 2. Mm-hmm. With Doc Ock.
Oh, yes.
That is a really good... If not just for the train scene, just the dynamic between Tobey Maguire and Alfred Molina, thank you.
Yeah, he's fantastic as Doc Ock.
He is a great Doc Ock. And also James Franco wasn't in it that much. So Bonanza, that's good. That's a good thing. Mm-hmm. Then we have probably Infinity War.
Yeah.
Just because of the ending. Mm-hmm. And also the bit where Thor appears. Mm-hmm. Then you have Avengers Endgame.
Yep.
Just because it rounded up all of those films into a nice, neat little package, and also Portals. Portals for President.
Matt watches Endgame at least once a month.
Yeah, at least. And I'm not going to lie, I cry every time.
He does.
And I normally watch like a Spider-Man film or an Avengers Endgame when Freya's away, and I always send Freya like a picture of me crying.
Yeah, he does. It's true.
During Portals, on your left, And also the start of the film with Hawkeye and his family disappearing, because it breaks my bloody heart.
It does.
Really does.
Yeah.
And then in at number 1, because all of them were Marvel films,
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight.
Ah.
I mean, I think that film is in my top 5 films of all time anyway.
Wow.
Just because it's stunning.
So,
not just Heath Ledger. I think every aspect of that film is perfection.
It is great. It's really, really great. Well, cool. I mean, I prefer my Batman a bit camper, so...
Adam West camp or...
No, not that camp.
George Clooney camp.
Not that camp.
So, somewhere in the middle. Val Kilmer.
No, God.
Michael Keaton, of course.
Michael Keaton, he's my favourite Batman.
Is he? Okay.
Apart from animated series Batman.
Oh, well, that's my favourite. Batman the Animated Series. That's
of course.
Kevin Conway.
We didn't say series.
No, but yes.
Also the best Joker, in my opinion.
Yes, I think he's on par with Jared Leto. No. No. I would say probably on par with Heath Ledger.
Yeah, fair enough. We've gone off on a tangent.
We have.
What's your favourite scene in Constantine, the film we're talking about today?
No, not many. No. Okay, right. I'm not going to shit on like Constantine too much, because again, I think my whole thing is that I personally think that it'd be a good film if it had nothing to do with the comics. Mm-hmm. Anyway, my favourite scene it's kind of cheating, because it's the opening. Say 15 minutes. What with the Mexican scavenger finding the Spear of Destiny, and then also the exorcism in the apartment.
That's a really good scene.
I think that's all shot really, really well.
Yeah.
And it's that part of the film where Keanu Reeves does a really good John Constantine. Mm-hmm. You know, because he's more bummed out that he's like run out of cigarettes than anything else. You know.
Yeah, I
That's
agree.
how he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know,
definitely.
and even Shia LaBeouf.
Sure.
Yeah, him. I thought he was really good in that bit. One of the very few minutes that he's actually in the film.
Yes, he's not in it much.
No, he isn't. What's your favourite scene?
My favourite scene is when Constantine is talking to Satan. Just because it's such a good Satan. And Emma and Dan said it, and I completely agree. Excellent Satan.
Yes, Peter Stormare.
Sure.
Stormare? I think. He's Swedish.
He's
not
Swedish,
Russian.
yeah.
Everyone thinks he's Russian. He's Swedish.
He is great. I love him.
He's awesome.
In everything.
He's a really good villain, though he hasn't... He's done loads of films where he's a villain, like for instance, like Bad Boys 2, Minority Report, other films with him in it. I can't think. He's always the villain. He hasn't done a really massive film where he's the villain. I think like one of the biggest, probably Bad Boys 2, and have you seen Bad Boys 2?
I haven't, no.
You haven't seen Bad Boys 2? No, sorry. I do that joke every time I mention Bad Boys around her. And also in 22 Jump Street. But he needs like
he'd be
Sheriff of Nottingham sort of thing.
Yeah. I think he'd make a really excellent bad guy in a proper big comic book.
Well, I think he'd make a really good Bond villain. But that's kind of a bit too easy.
I mean, he's an obvious choice for that.
But again, hasn't been picked for it. I think that would be pretty awesome.
But he is really delightful in the scenes where he's Satan. I love how kind of insane he is, and also how menacing he is.
Well, the bit where what is it? It's like you have to let Isabella go to heaven, and he goes, he like sucks up and puts up his head, and then just goes, fine.
Yeah,
and that's it. As if it's about to be some massive over-exaggerated spell or something like that. And then he just goes, fine.
Yeah.
Yep. I think that's just really good.
It's a very brief role, but it's got a lot of impact.
But then, in theory, that means that Gavin Rossdale, lead singer of Bush, is Peter Stormare, son.
Well, no, because is he his son? Because he's Balthazar. He's a half-breed.
Oh, I thought it was... I may have made a mistake. Quick rewind.
I mean, I don't know about the kind of, Princes of Hell and what their relation is to Lucifer. Maybe you're right.
I thought he mentioned something about his son being... But anyway, I don't know.
We'll talk about it later.
Sure.
What's your favourite line?
My favourite line
I stole your favourite line.
You did,
Ha-ha.
you son of a... and that's when John Constantine is talking about God, and he says, he always had a rotten sense of humour, and his punchlines are killers. Mm-hmm. And I thought, that's quite nice. There aren't many great lines in this film.
No, there's not.
A lot of religious talk, but not many kick-ass moments.
No, there's not really, is there?
No. What about you?
Mine is also Constantine, and he's also talking about God.
Mm-hmm.
Talking to Angela, he says, God's a kid with an ant farm, lady. He's not planning anything. But I also like when, just before he goes into hell, and he's holding the cat, and I like where, so she says, look after that cat, and the cat goes, meow.
You're getting a quote from a cat?
Yes, I am.
Oh, right. Is that your favourite quote?
Good timing from that cat.
That's good. It's almost as if they edited it.
Well, maybe. I just think it was a clever cat.
Oh, right, okay.
Can we have some facts?
You can. Straight off the bat, I'm going to say that this film is loosely based on, I think it's the 2004 comic Dangerous Habits of Hellblazer. Also, Keanu Reeves bought the Holy Shotgun prop and gave it to director Francis Lawrence as a gift. Oh, isn't he a nice guy?
Yeah.
You know what? I'm just waiting for the day when Keanu Reeves comes out as a serial killer or something. Nobody could be that nice.
Yeah, probably.
Actually, to be fair, if he does come out and say, like, I've been killing people, then he must be the greatest actor of all time, because nobody suspected it, and everybody in the world thought that he was a really nice guy, but deep down he was a serial killer. Yeah.
Ooh.
So there you go. Maybe Keanu Reeves is the greatest actor in the world.
You hear that, Keanu? We're on to you.
Yeah. Let's see it. All we need is just a swab from underneath your nails. Yeah. Watching you, Keanu. Constantine's line in which he says that he doesn't want Angela to be another ghost following him around is a reference to the comics, where he was haunted by the ghosts of his friends who died because of him.
Ooh.
That's pretty awesome. The character of John Constantine was originally created by Alan Moore, of which I've already mentioned, during his run of the DC Comics Swamp Things, of which I've already mentioned. However, following his negative experience from Hell and the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Moore decided to reject all money and credit from Hollywood and any adaptations of his work, and then he gave all his money to other artists that drew characters for him. So he just basically rejected Hollywood.
Fair enough.
I don't think his name is mentioned anywhere on League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, V for Vendetta, a really good film adaptation, and Watchmen.
Wow.
Which was Watchmen is essentially Alan Moore's Bible. I think
his masterpiece.
His masterpiece, yes. I haven't read the Bible. I don't know. How's it end?
I'm not sure.
No, me neither. The original title, Hellblazer, of which I've already mentioned, was changed because it was too similar to Hellboy. The movies were scheduled to be released from a short space of time between them, and it was decided that having such similar titles would hurt sales of tickets. Therefore, Hellblazer was changed to Constantine, of which I've already mentioned. The Nazi flag used to wrap the Spear of Destiny was destroyed after shooting to prevent it from falling into the hands of neo-Nazis. There is a cameo from Dominic Harvey. Do you know who Dominic Harvey is?
No.
Keira Knightley did the film Domino, which was about essentially a model and a bounty hunter. And everyone mocked her because it was like, I'm Domino Harvey.
Oh.
Right. But yeah, she's in the scene in Papa Midnight's bar. I don't recommend Domino.
Okay.
I recommend Domino Pizzas, not Domino the film.
Okay.
Ravenscar Hospital is named for the mental institution that features in the Hellblazer comics book series. John Constantine spent 4 years in and out of Ravenscar after he had a nervous breakdown due to a botched exorcism. Aside from John Constantine, the only characters to survive the transition from comic to movie are Ellie, the demoness she was basically cut from the film, but she's pretty awesome. Papa Midnight, who's played by Jimon Honsu. Mm-hmm. I'm so glad I pronounced that right. And did you know that he's been in 6 comic book films?
Ah.
I know.